Okay, yes, welcome.
For the past 5 months, the US has been quietly ramping up its campaign of deadly airstrikes in Somalia. The strikes target Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group. Somalis living in Al-Shabaab-controlled territories say they're getting caught in the crossfire.
How do people feel in this area, in Middle Juba, about these airstrikes?
They feel a great fear. They are horrified by even the sound of a warplane is flying over that city every night.
Already this year, the US has carried out 41 airstrikes. That's more than in the entire 8 years of the Obama administration.
Tell us about what happened. When did you get the news of this attack?
Around 8 on that Sunday evening, there was a missile hit into my relative's house. And at that time, there were about 5 people. They were having a dinner. There were 4 persons hit by that airstrike. My mother-in-law, 3 other children, 1 died.
On the day of the airstrike on Mohammed's town, the US military's Africa Command, known as AFRICOM, released a statement saying they killed 1 al-Shabaab militant. According to their report, no civilians were killed. Why do you think they targeted your family? I mean, were there any connections with al-Shabaab?
They are farmers. They sometimes keep livestock. This is their own job. There is no way of links with al-Shabaab militants.
AFRICOM's campaign in Somalia has gone on for 13 years. It's admitted to just 4 civilian deaths. Stories like Mohammed's have led outside groups to believe that the actual number is much higher.
I think we know more about these people in many cases than AFRICOM does. They'll say they killed 3 terrorists, but then when we actually track down the names of who these people are, their families, we find really a different story.
Brian investigates cell phone footage of attacks to see if the details and the deaths match with AFRICOM's statements. This is a video taken shortly after an attack on a banana farm that allegedly killed a civilian earlier this year. We've altered the narrator's voice to protect his identity. So this is a shard of metal, but it could be anything.
There's a couple distinctive things on that. One is the black paint on the bottom side, but then also the seam. That's where the metal on the outside of that rocket motor comes together from having looked at lots of Hellfire missiles shot in lots of places in Yemen and Syria and Iraq over the years. This just jumps out at you that, yes, this is a Hellfire missile.
Other videos can help locate the attacks in areas of Somalia that are nearly impossible for outsiders to access. By isolating key frames of this video, Brian created a panorama with several key features. One of them is a water tower, a rare sight in this area of Somalia. By finding these landmarks and looking at their shadows, he can tell exactly where and when an attack took place. How important is a video like this in terms of actually getting some kind of real accountability for these strikes?
They are very rare, but when we do have them and are able to line up the exact place and the exact time, then we have all of the who, what, when, where, why we need to be able to hold AFRICOM accountable.
AFRICOM declined our interview request, but in an email response to questions, a spokesperson said they go to, quote, extraordinary lengths to reduce civilian casualties. The spokesperson said the strike on Mohammed's town is currently under investigation and that AFRICOM is improving their transparency efforts. The command released their first ever quarterly civilian casualty reports in April. Part of their oversight also comes from Congress. Representative Ilhan Omar is on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Do you think that there are things that this administration is doing that have differed from the US strategy in the past?
I mean, the strategy of this administration is always concerning to me. When we are engaging in droning in the dark of the night, we risk killing civilians and we risk really having those actions then in turn act as a recruitment tool. This horrible cycle that we have been in Somalia needs to end. And our hope is that with more transparency, with more accountability, with more conversations, we will be able to win this war.
Hello, everyone. Hi, sorry for the delay there. How's it going? As you can see, it's just me for now. Abby is supposed to be here. I think she'll probably show up eventually, hopefully sooner rather than later. She was feeling some tired. I just talked to her a couple hours ago, and she just wanted to go down for a bit of a nap before the stream. And I suspect that she has fallen a little bit more asleep than she meant to. Oh well, that's how it goes, you know. I always have a deep respect for sleep, And I think most of us, we don't actually talk. There's like a whole sleep epidemic, pandemic thing going on. Nobody sleeps anymore. It's a big problem in modern society. So I have become a strong advocate for sleep. So if you are tired and you need your rest, fuck all this busy, whatever, 21st century lifestyle everyone's embraced with such vigor. And remember that you're a human being with needs, and part of that is sleep. So anyway, how's it going, Indy? Good to see you. Marietta, Yonina, Sean, Driving Me Macy, Kieran, and Old Man Barker, and Mastermind Hour, Extra Bulla, all of you guys. Good to see you all. Thank you. So today we're going to be talking about Somalia. This was Abby's idea. She asked me if I could do a bit of research on Somalia, and then she was going to talk about some more domestic issues. And so I was like, sure. I've been kind of curious about what's going on in Somalia, but there's so much going on in the world that a lot of other bigger, seemingly more important conflicts are grabbing our attention, and to kind of argue over, play the trauma Olympics of our struggles more important than yours. It's a little bit, to me, it's not very socialist, right? It's dismissing the problem of imperialism being a global phenomenon. It's not really going to go away if you defeat it in one corner of the world. You kind of have to be willing to look everywhere for where these, look for the evidence of the problems of imperialism everywhere, as opposed to just with our favorite conflict zones, if that's a strange way to put it. But I'm doing a little bit of rambling here, so let me call up an article here. So let's see, where should we start? I wasn't sure if I was wanting to do a whole lot of reading today, because I'm a little bit tired. I just kind of am adjusting to my new work schedule and still trying to get my drinking in, and not getting any younger. So I sometimes just need to chill out a bit, pace myself. Anyway, this article, was it? I think it's a Somali newspaper. It's called from our website called Hiran.com, HIIRAAN. But I guess it's not. I'm not sure if it would be based in Somalia news because it's a .com, and I don't know what the internet thing for Somalia is, but I digress. U.S. airstrikes surge in Somalia despite al-Shabaab regaining territory. Well, let me, sorry, before I get started here, change my little ticker thing at the bottom. I should actually briefly comment and critique on that video. I suspect we might get a copyright strike. Not really a big fan of Vice News. I'm sure you guys aren't really either. Anyone who's real diligent about understanding politics and the world learns pretty quickly that a lot of these outlets like Vice News are pretty flashy and act like they're, muckrackers and independent journalists and like Voice for Truth or whatever, but they end up being limited hangouts, to put it politely, right? If not outright, like necessary outlets for government propaganda in such a way, delivered in such a way as to be palatable to a more anti-establishment kind of renegade type of persona, you know, a demographic that would be reading their stuff or watching their stuff. So, like everything with the mainstream media, I'm only really watching it or being exposed to it because they've monopolized the space, and they go around hiding our independent media from each other. So it's an active struggle to even find appropriate news sources. So fuck you, Google, and all that, YouTube, for throttling the truth and shoving all that garbage down our face. But I found it instrumental that is 5 years ago, and they are at least doing the honest, like their human being thing, try and hold the U.S. government accountable for claiming that they're not responsible for civilian deaths with their airstrikes, when of course we know that they always, like all over the world, the U.S. has been murdering civilians from the air for decades now. It's a very well-known fact, but doesn't mean that we should not continue to call attention to it when they do it, every time they do it. We should not normalize it. I heard something to that effect on Reason to Resist, Dimitri Lascaris' channel. So I echo his sentiment. Anyway, U.S. airstrikes surge in Somalia despite al-Shabaab regaining territory. Thursday, July 17th, 2025. An MQ-9 Reaper remotely piloted aircraft in Indian Springs. Oh, that's just a fucking, sorry, caption of the photo. Mogadishu. The United States has carried out 51 airstrikes in Somalia so far this year, marking one of the most aggressive phases of its drone campaign in the Horn of Africa since 2019. Yet on the ground, militant groups are retaking territory, highlighting the limits of foreign air power in the face of persistent local instability. Yet again, we've came to that conclusion a long time ago. You can't win a war from the air alone, obviously. Common sense. July 13, U.S. airstrikes targeted Islamic State fighters entrenched in the Kalmiskad Mountains of Puntland's Berry region, where regional security forces have been conducting an intensive counterterrorism campaign known as Operation Hilak. Launched in late 2024, the multi-phase offensive, named after the Somali word for lightning, aims to dismantle the Islamic State Somalia network that has used the rugged mountain terrain southeast of Bosaso as a base of operations. And so I'm very cynical when I'm looking at this kind of, I'm very tired of hearing about the Islamic State boogeyman that always needs to be rooted out as the excuse for America to essentially rob nations of their sovereignty. So while I've never been to this region, and I'm not trying to diminish the fact that there are Islamic extremists, violent armed groups that are always constantly manipulated by outside forces, committing all kinds of atrocities. Not to be paranoid, but we are quite like the independent media, you know, Marxist, socialist, communist, anarchists. We're all very well aware of how America and Israel have been the ones behind, have been the ones, you know, the puppet master pulling the strings of ISIS. So, not saying anything new for you guys in the chat right now, but if there's anybody who's watching on the replay or somebody new, new subscribers, whatever, thank you, whoever you might be. This is new information. I hope you appreciate that. So, the recent airstrikes coincided with Phase 4 of the operation, which focuses on flushing out remaining militant cells believed to be sheltering in remote hideouts with their families. According to U.S. Africa, so that's exactly just the next phase of their operation is to focus on bombing their hideouts with their families. and nobody's gonna bat an eye. What the fuck? According to U.S. Africa Command, at least 30 of this year's strikes have focused on ISIS cells in the north. An additional 20 airstrikes have targeted al-Shabaab positions in central and southern Somalia, particularly in Hiran and Jubaland regions. If the pace continues, 2025 could break the previous annual record of 63 airstrikes set under former President Donald Trump. Despite the intensified campaign, al-Shabaab has captured 3 towns in Hirshabelle State, Mokokori, Gumare, and Tardo within the past 2 weeks. Federal troops and allied Maawisli militias, I have no idea how to say that, who led much of the 2022 offensive to retake these areas, have been pushed back. Federal lawmakers have criticized the government for failing to provide adequate support to local fighters, with one MP accusing authorities of not even sending basic supplies, such as water tankers, to frontline units. If you think it's hot in Canada, I'm pretty sure this global warming is not a good place to, make Somalia not a good place to really be trying to fight a war, let alone, or trying to live your life, let alone fight a war, right? So that failure, he said, left towns vulnerable to coordinated al-Shabaab attacks, including suicide car bombings. The militant group has now shifted focus toward encircling government-held towns such as Bulobarde and Jalalaksi. Both are defended by African Union peacekeepers from Djibouti, but roads in and out of these towns have grown increasingly dangerous, disrupting aid and supply lines. Meanwhile, AFRICOM has temporarily refrained from publishing casualty estimates in Somalia as part of a policy review. Go fuck yourself, AFRICOM. While AFRICOM pledged to continue issuing quarterly civilian harm reports, recent omissions of casualty figures in strike announcements have drawn scrutiny. Somali civil society groups and rights monitors have criticized the move, saying the lack of routine disclosures undermines efforts to hold military actions accountable. In May, AFRICOM Commander General Michael Langley defended the command's transparency record, stating, "We are still very transparent after strikes. Our main concern is to be able to protect civilians, and it has been working." Yeah, fuck off, you goddamn gaslighters. It's completely full of shit. I just have a hard time and it's by design, I'm pretty sure. For people wanting to learn about this stuff, they intend to be as insulting as possible so that a lot of people just get frustrated trying to keep aware of what's going on because of how disgusting it is for their own mental health. And yeah, but we can't let that very obvious manipulation of our emotions and character or whatever prevent us from, doing the right thing. So let's see, how are you guys doing? I've been kind of on these streams, it's difficult for me to get paying attention to everything going on in the chat and keep the show on track. Practice makes perfect, I guess. So Yonina's saying, "Hey, you leave that drinking alone, Michael, at least for this first 6 months of work. I love you and I want you to keep your job, to keep yourself and your puppy happy." Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I'll do my best. I did try for the first week of working. I did sober up for as many days as possible. I only had to drink one night after work in the first week, but then I've been just kind of, I don't know if it's me genetically or bad lack of willpower or something, but I've been struggling with going a couple days without drinking. So if you don't feel the need to be starting drinking every day, don't do it, because you might not understand what you're getting yourself into. So anyway, it's a climatological catastrophe because not even the polar regions are safe. Please go and look at Dane Wigington and the work he has done. Okay, I'll kind of make a note of that. I'll look that up later. Thank you. Because I've been a little bit, got my bell rung a bit on the climate change stuff, trying to come down to the right answers about what's the real story with the climate. How much of what we think we know is right, and how much what we think we know is wrong. And then you get learning about stuff that's actually beyond what you can understand because you haven't gone to school for this kind of stuff. So, but I'm willing to come back to to revisit the topic and try again, but I just kind of need guidance from good sources, otherwise you're just sifting through bullshit. It gets frustrating. So, Sean saying, same here, Michael. Today is day 1 out of what I hope will be 5. Exactly, yeah. So I understand everyone has a good heart with wanting us to take better care of ourselves, but it is what it is, right? We do what we can. So moving on to another segment here. Oh, I meant to change that banner. So just read about the U.S. airstrikes. So I wanted to see, even though I have no respect for the United Nations, it's always kind of interesting to see what they're trying to do, claim they're trying to do, what they're saying anyway. So it does kind of give you a little bit of context to the situation. So this is from 27th of December, 2024. I'm not sure if they've made another resolution since then. I think this is the last kind of resolution they're trying to act on, and now they have to assess if what they've done is a success or a failure or whatever, according to their interpretation, and then come up with what next resolution should be based on results. So very slow and methodical bureaucracy going on at the UN, of course. But leave it up to you to decide if it accomplishes anything. So adopting Resolution 2767, 2024, Security Council endorses new African Union support mission in Somalia. Security Council today endorsed the African Union Peace and Security Council's decision to replace the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia with the African Union Support and Stabilization Mission in Somalia. So ATMIS with AWSOM, marking a further step in transitioning national security responsibilities to that country's own forces. Adopting Resolution 2767 to be issued as document blah 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 by a vote of 14 in favor to none against, with 1 abstention, the United States, of course. The Council authorized African Union members to take all necessary measures for 12 months, starting 1st of January 2025, including supporting the federal government of Somalia in degrading al-Shabaab and affiliates linked to Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant, also known as Daesh. The Council also welcomed the progress made so far by Somalia in assuming progressively greater responsibility for its national security, including the Somali security forces taking over responsibilities from 7,000 drawn down ATMIS forces since 2022. African Union member states were authorized to continue to deploy up to 12,626 uniformed personnel, including 1,040 police personnel, to AWSOM until 30th of June 2025, which is just past last month, and to complete by this date the realignment of all African Union troops from ATMIS to AWSOM. The text contains a section dedicated to financing AWSOM, including references to Council Resolution 2719 from 2023, which establishes a framework for financing African Union peace support operations through UN-assessed contributions to ensure predictable and sustainable financing for those missions. By the text, the Council requested the Secretary General to implement within existing resources made available through the right sizing of the UN Support Office in Somalia, whatever this means. I don't know, maybe I should look that up briefly, just because it seems like a kind of bullshit word. convert something to an appropriate or optimum size. Reduce the size of a company or organization by eliminating staff positions, specifically when business conditions necessitate such a reduction. Oh, okay. So layoffs. It's a fancy word for layoffs. Is this text a little bit hard for you guys to read? Do you want me to blow it up for you? Hello, antediluvian atheist. Good to see you. What are you saying? Climate change is hard since we've never been here before. It's real. We are definitely fucked. We don't know how fucked. Will we lose 50% of the pop or 90%? We just don't know. Exactly. So I agree with you. It's extremely dire and serious. I've actually been kind of losing my shit on some people I've been seeing, because my apartment's got like a parking lot right outside my window, and I don't like seeing people sitting in their cars idling. Most of the people I just leave alone, but I've seen a couple city workers that are supposed to fucking know better. The ones who put up the goddamn sign, they recently installed a new sign that says no idling, right? It's got this that red circle, right? It's not like they have, not sure if they have any kind of penalty that they're going to enforce on anybody for that. But the point is that the city has made steps to discourage people from doing that in a legal kind of formal kind of way. And the city workers themselves are going to sit there and idle in their fucking car because it's hot as hell out. I understand, right? But why is it hot as hell out? Because all you motherfuckers can't stop driving your goddamn cars, among other things. So let's work together and do our part to change the way that we are with our behavior in ways that are actually sustainable. Can we do that? No. We got to sit here and enjoy our air conditioning. And the fucking police too. I don't know if you guys seen this in anywhere where you guys are at, but the Windsor police, a bunch of dick faces that they are, whatever, they got to go fucking make a policy that they're going to, when they go do whatever police work that they're doing in people's homes. Well, I don't know what kind of operations, whatever, but their policy seems to be that they're going to leave their cars locked, running, in case what? Some guy's a runner. So you really telling me that the what, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever, that your car takes to start is gonna make or break your catching of that bad guy who's probably innocent anyway? But it's worth it to you to leave the vehicles idling all over the goddamn city. How many fucking cop cars are currently doing this policy every fucking day for whatever stupid fucking reason? How much pollution do you spew into the atmosphere that you know that the scientists have told you that you shouldn't be fucking doing that, but you make these kinds of wasteful policies so you can save 3 fucking seconds when you start a car in case somebody runs away? Fuck you for that shit, okay? And I see some other guy at the fucking corner store too, okay? Just trying to go get my beer after work, right? And this motherfucker has to go into the corner store. He leaves his whatever girlfriend, sister, I don't know who the fuck, whatever, in the car with the car running with the windows down. It's nighttime. It's not hot. It's starting to cool down enough, whatever. You could just fucking chill. It's a little warm or whatever, but you can get used to it or whatever, right? Are these people going to do the same thing of saving their own fucking money and gas that they're going to have to pay for because they're wasting it? So from a fucking economic perspective, it makes sense to not fucking run your car. But from an ecological perspective, it makes even more sense because do you have any fucking kids? Probably, right? Do you give a shit about their fucking world they're going to live in? No, obviously. So yeah, and I'm tired of these motherfucking pieces of shit like the Canadian commie or whatever, the people, whatever, when I try and have nuance about the climate change discussion, these pieces of shit, whatever, want to call me a climate denialist. When I ride my fucking bike, I don't have a car, whatever. I got rid of my car partly because of the climate change shit. And I go around trying to help people or to change people's ways, and I get shit on for it. So fuck you people, right? Not you guys. You guys are good, right? Anyway, I kind of had to get that out a little bit, right? So I'm not even talking about climate today, but it's there all the time, whatever, right? It's just like the elephant in the room, should be talked about, whatever. It's like when we talk about anything nowadays, whatever, you can draw the Israel connection, whatever. You can do the same thing with the climate thing. It's always there. So, yeah, saying don't blame the workers. 95% of this problem is the fault of the U.S. government, military, and big corps trying to offload the blame onto the little people. I agree. I do blame the little people for being a little bit too apathetic and everything's too big and hard for me to change, so let's not change anything or whatever. Well, that's not gonna fucking solve anything either or whatever. We can't just blame everything on our enemies and then feel like that's gonna be revolutionary. So also, there's too many communists that believe that climate change is not real because imperialists say so, and they always lie, which is simplistic and stupid. Yeah. Just in case you haven't thought about the possibility, just because imperialists lie doesn't mean that they also haven't decided to be psychopathic enough, whatever, to use the truths that they are also aware of to their advantage to fuck us over just as much as they use the lies. Okay. So yeah, that was a nice little ranting break. I hope you guys enjoyed that, or whatever. But I'm going to get back to my reading here, because if I get talking too much all day, whatever, my voice is going to get tired. So. Okay, where was I here? Okay, so they're drawing down the Abmas forces, whatever, and they got deadlines that are kind of coming up right around now. So the text contains a section dedicated to financing AUSAM, including references to Council Resolution 2719. I think I did read that. By the text, the Council requested the Secretary General to implement within existing resources made available through the right sizing of the UN Support Office in Somalia, the hybrid implementation of the 2719 framework to AUSAM from 1st of July 2025, combining UN-assessed contributions with funds mobilized by the African Union and other partners. This application is contingent on the Council's confirmation by the 15th of May 2025 of sufficient progress on operationalizing the modalities of Resolution 2719. Delegates debated the hybrid financing option, which proposed applying the 2719 framework to the AUSAM budget with 75% funded through UN-assessed contributions and the remaining 25% covered by the African Union and the UN as extra budgetary resources. Somalia's delegate welcomed the adoption of the resolution as a significant step towards peace and stability in his country. He also commended the Council's call to implement the hybrid model in July 2025, adding that this approach recognizes the unique operational context and reinforces the logistical support provided by the United Nations, which has been instrumental in the success of peace support operations. Additionally, he underscored that access to the UNSS contributions of up to 75% can provide adequate, predictable, and sustainable funding to AUSAM and significantly enhance the capacity to confront the security challenges posed by al-Shabaab. So this, I think, is kind of something worth noting. He's saying the Somalia, the official government representative of Somalia approves of the what the UN is trying to do, which everyone agreed that they wanted to implement except for the United States. Okay, so when the United States claims that they have not done anything wrong when bombing in Somalia because they have the consent of the government to go around bombing their civilians, okay, as well as combatants. That's something worth noting, the discrepancy there, okay, because what everyone else is trying to do is establish Somalia's sovereignty and ability to deal with their problem with their own autonomy, nobody should really be fighting anybody else's wars on their behalf. If you're going to fight a war or whatever, you should be capable of doing it yourself, right? Common sense. But so when you want to talk about coercion, if Somalia is giving America consent to bomb in their land when everyone else is trying to give Somalia the ability to bomb their own land instead of having to ask other people to do it for them, it's more like U.S. is making them an offer, a deal they can't refuse, right? So, hello, Jacqueline and Grapentine and Rondo. Thanks for joining. And Bag Cookies. Getting dinner started, but you're listening. Good to hear. Cool. No worries. Trying to catch up from the beginning, says Jacqueline. Okay, no worries. Yeah, I hear Ozzy's passed away. I was never a big fan of Ozzy, so I'm not exactly missing him all that well. But no need to, rest in peace or whatever. Sure, he was a piece of shit in his own way too, but I haven't looked into it. Okay, so the representative of Algeria, also speaking for Guyana, Mozambique, and Sierra Leone, highlighted their support for the hybrid option for implementing Resolution 2719 as the only viable and applicable option for Al-Assam. The agreement by the bloc's member states to consider a token financial contribution to the new mission in Somalia, despite their financial challenges, reflects the regional organization's ability to craft African solutions to African problems. The Council's European members, France, Malta, Switzerland, and Slovenia, also expressed support for the hybrid financing option, with the former highlighting the European Union's financial contributions to African Union-led missions, and the latter stressing that all necessary steps described in the resolution must be implemented in due time so that the mission can begin receiving adequate funding by the 1st of July 2025. So, excuse me. To me, what I see here is they've set them up maybe a deadline that they're not really trying that hard to actually meet. They're going to allow the U.S. to sabotage so that they can say, oh, well, that didn't work. I guess we're going to have to try something else. And they're just going to waste a whole bunch of time pretending to do stuff. So any delay beyond this date would endanger the effectiveness of the mission and have serious repercussions for the security and stability of Somalia and the region, he cautioned. But you can't really make that kind of you're threatening the success of the operation by not being on a strict timeline that's not feasible, right? So if you want things to work, you can't expect things to happen according to your whatever agenda. You have to let things happen organically. So the United Kingdom's delegate emphasized that the resolution prepares the ground for the Council to approve a transformative change to the mission's financing in May 2025, with the first anticipated use of the framework established by Resolution 2719. However, the representative of the United States said the conditions have not been met for applying the 2719 framework to Somalia. The proposed hybrid model in today's text implies that the UN would continue to fully fund United Nations Support Office in Somalia through UN-assessed contributions, and that Resolution 2719 would apply solely to troop reimbursements. This arrangement would result in UN-assessed contributions effectively funding more than 90% of the aggregate mission cost. Oh no! This is clearly not what Resolution 2719 envisioned, she said. Who gives a fuck? Okay? Fucking U.S. whatever diplomats, some of the biggest assholes in the world. China's delegate highlighted the critical need to avoid a security vacuum, describing the adopted resolution as an important step in the Council's support for African Union-led peacekeeping operations. The speakers for the Republic of Korea and Ecuador said Al-Assam's adequate, predictable, and sustainable funding is critical to preventing security gaps that could enable opportunistic terrorist expansion. Japan's representative welcomed the recently signed declaration between Somalia and Ethiopia, noting that continued regional cooperation is critical, particularly in the fight against al-Shabaab. So now we're touching on Ethiopia. that is the other thing. So we're trying to understand what's happening in Somalia, why things never seem to like be one of those forever conflict zones or whatever, why things will never are not being resolved. You have to understand the U.S. influence. Then you have to understand the neighbors in the region, mainly Ethiopia and Egypt. Okay, how they're gonna kind of use this is their backyard, and they use these smaller war-torn nations trying to put themselves back on their feet wherever they can use their struggle as part of their chessboard, whatever, between each other. So don't be surprised if Ethiopia and Egypt end up at war in the next, couple of years, just like everyone else seems to want to go to war. So because now's the time, I guess. So Ethiopia's delegate said this transition from ATMIS to ALSOM will be successful only if Somali security forces are unable to assume their full responsibility. I think we should all be able to agree on that, except Ethiopia kind of, I'm not sure if they've invaded Somalia multiple times, but at least from what I briefly learned today, they invaded Somalia in like 2006. So this is like when you hear someone who invaded you talk about you as if they care about you, it's, with a pound of salt. So concurring with the Council's cautious approach that any further transition should be informed by progressive improvement in their capability, he added that his country, along with other frontline states, has been at the forefront of supporting Somalia in rebuilding its state institutions. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's just gaslighting bullshit coming from Ethiopia, most likely. Commenting on statements about support to Africans, the Russian Federation's representative said that they look hypocritical given the contrast between $238.5 billion in Western funding for Ukraine since February 2022 and the $11 billion which the European Union allocated to the African Peace Facility. No lies detected, right? They do look completely hypocritical, and the Russian Federation's representative is completely correct to point that out. So, reaffirming support for the draft, he said the Council has made an important step demonstrating its trust in African leadership, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that was that. I don't know if I needed to read that whole thing, but I thought that it might be. When I read the whole thing, I was like, okay, maybe there's something here worth sharing. So, because it's maybe also a good way to kind of set up, because I want to now talk a bit more about Ethiopia and Egypt's differing interests or approaches to the situation in the region. So just trying to figure out which article to go with. Let's do this one here. Okay. Oh, that's a little small. So this this article comes from a website called navantigroup.com. So I need to get to the point where I'm actually looking into these sources before I go live. A little too amateur at this point for being able to do the full journalistic kind of approach, but we'll get there one day, hopefully. Hey, Abby, what's up? I see you in the chat there. I think my phone alarm is broken or some shit. Yeah, tell me about it, whatever. My phone alarm is one of the things that still works, but I can't turn it on or turn it off because I can't see the screen or whatever. So Toshmit woke you up, so thank you, appreciate you, Toshmit. So I'm thinking Abby will be joining us when she's had a minute or had time to wake up and, you know, compose herself. So no worries, I'll just hold down the fort for now. Oh, here she comes. Just checking in on the rest of you guys. Cool. Oh, hey, Abby. What's up? Hey, Abby. Oh, should I put you back in a minute while you get ready? Whatever. I brought you on. Or should I put you back in a minute while you get ready?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on with my phone. I think my alarm must be. I need to test it because this is not the first time this has happened. And everything looks so different in here. What is this? Beta scenes.
What's that?
Everything looks so different in StreamYard.
Yeah.
Which is probably hard for you.
Yeah, I'm just kind of doing my basic things that I know how to do and not straying outside of that. And like, there's a couple of improvements we might be able to make to the stream for the audience and whatnot. But I've so far just been able to just kind of keep doing what we're doing because I can't even have the time or energy to, to improve the production quality. So apologize a bit, but I hope you understand, everyone.
Hi, Old Man Barker, driving me Macy, Lance, everybody. I just can't see everybody in the comment section yet. And I don't know what you were talking about, but I'm gonna let you keep going because what we were supposed to do was I was supposed to come up with like domestic stuff, and while we're distracted from all that, you were gonna go with Somalia, but I don't know. I'm so.
That's all good. Shit just doesn't go the way it's
I feel
supposed
so
to.
bad.
You got to be prepared to do to pull an audible like football reference, whatever. Sometimes you gotta just go with a different, go with the flow.
And the crazy part is, I've been on podcasts like the last 2 days. It's not like I haven't been around.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Let me let you finish what you were doing, and I'll try to figure out what's going on over here.
Yeah, I see Lance had a question. I'm not sure if this was just a rhetorical question. Just how many wars exactly are going at this time? Last I looked up, I just was curious. I think it said 36. There's 36 wars right now. And not maybe this is the right time to mention it. I heard some breaking news today. Might be making that 37 now because seems like Thailand and Cambodia, of all nations, feel the need to start a war right now, or at least they're having some kind of border dispute, like we've seen with India and Pakistan, where sometimes they think they're about to go to war, but maybe they don't, but maybe they do. So maybe we'll end up talking about that next week, or whatever. But that's breaking news that I heard today: Thailand, Cambodia exchanging like bombing each other, right? Like that's a whole. I don't want to get into it because I'm going to get on a tangent. But anyway, Somalia. So now I just kind of, since you missed what I was talking about, Abby, I'll try and sum up briefly. I just started by playing a bit of a video from back in like 2020 from Vice News, talking about how The U.S. has been known to be bombing civilians back then. They're still getting away with it now. And then I read an article, not sure where it is now, about just kind of summing up, like a recent article summing up the drone strikes that have been happening in 2025, showing that it's like an echo from 2020, nothing new. And then I read an article from the United Nations about what their plans are. They're trying to give Somalia the independence to be able to handle their own security, and the U.S. is sabotaging that, of course. So now I wanted to get into the more regional players about how Egypt and Ethiopia have like they have.
But before you get into that, I just want you to know that the chat thinks that you had a great rant about the environment.
I did went off on a tangent about the environment stuff. Yeah, you rewatch it, you can see.
Okay, I just want you to know.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm just getting a little pissed off because it's fucking hot. One of those hottest,
There's you remember I was on the roof the other week, and I need to get back on the roof, but I can't because there's a heat index in Louisiana that I just cannot. I don't want to put myself in danger. But the heat index is there's a warning for, I don't know, like 2 weeks. It's really kind of sad.
Yeah, it's some of us have to like really I know all this stuff, but I still haven't changed some of the I still go out in the middle of the day when it's the hottest time of the day, even on these crazy heat advisory days. It's like sometimes you got to adjust the way that you behave, right? I got a sunburn. I went to the pool with my son on yesterday, right before work. So, but stood out there too long, so that's all good. But here I am getting distracted again. So I'm going to read this little article here. So, Somalia, Egypt alliance versus Ethiopia, Somaliland, a brewing crisis. On January 1st, 2024, Somaliland President Muse Bihi Abdi and Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed attended the signing of a memorandum of understanding in Addis Ababa. This agreement allows Ethiopia to use a Somaliland port, providing the landlocked nation access to the Gulf of Aden. This MOU has caused heightened tensions in the already volatile Horn of Africa, particularly due to Somaliland's unrecognized claim of independence from Somalia since 1991. Ethiopia's access to the port has sparked concerns over its potential to interfere with Somalia's territorial integrity, with some Somali officials fearing the deal could exacerbate regional instability and empower insurgent groups like al-Shabaab. The two parties remain divided on key details of the agreement, including the nature and location of the port facility. The MOU has also caused diplomatic ripples as Somalia seeks international support to block the deal, while Ethiopia and Somaliland appear committed to moving forward. Somaliland declared independence from Somalia in 1991, but no country has formally recognized its sovereignty. Despite this, Somaliland has maintained a relatively stable and democratic system of governance, distinguishing itself from the rest of Somalia. It has its own government, conducts elections, and manages foreign investment. However, its lack of international recognition limits its access to global markets and financial institutions, and it remains in a tense relationship with Somalia, which considers Somaliland part of its territory. Basically, if Somalia wasn't so destabilized, it would be kind of waging a campaign against Somaliland to reclaim its territory, obviously, but they can't. So the Somaliland-Ethiopia MOU has reignited tensions between Egypt and Ethiopia, heightening fears of a potential conflict over Ethiopia's Nile River Dam. This is the other thing you need to understand. The dam that Ethiopia has built on the Nile is a big point of contention between Ethiopia and Egypt, and it's only going to like neither side is backing down, and it's going to turn into a full-blown cause for war, if not just permanent diplomatic crisis, whatever. Personally, when it comes to the Ethiopian dam, you just briefly share this tab since I'm talking about it. The Egypt's being a fucking douchebag about the dam. Okay, that's my take on that.
I mean, Egypt's not
That's what
being
they
nice
say.
about a lot of things.
I know, like Egypt can be like a dumb asshole.
Can you hear me? My mic is way over here. I realize.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
loud and clear. Hey, Jimmy Tessio, what's up? But so Egypt, if it wants to be a nice, respected member of the global community, maybe it should stop trying to uphold colonial agreements. Whatever it wants to look like a modern, sovereign nation. Why would you cynically take advantage of what the colonizers did to Egypt as well as everyone else in order to play geopolitical games and undermine its neighbors? It's just making everything unsafe because you're just being greedy and stupid about, instead of sharing the resources, they're just trying to hog it all to themselves. So the impact of colonial agreements on the regulation of the waters of the River Nile. This paper assesses how the Nile Basin agreements that were signed during the colonial period continue to affect the regulations of the waters of the Nile. The agreements signed by Britain and other European colonial powers regarding the regulation of the waters of the Nile are interpreted by the lowest riparian state, Egypt, as binding, while the other upper riparian states, such as Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Uganda, argue that since the countries got their independence, the agreements are non-binding. That's the stance that I agree with, obviously. The two parallel positions have made it difficult to develop a Nile Basin agreement to regulate the use of the waters of the Nile Basin up to the present day. So once again, thanks a lot for fucking nothing, colonialism. So, but that was, yeah, where was I here? I gotta find my tab to switch back to here. Okay. So now that we have that context behind us, Egypt's recent military actions in Somalia, including sending arms and planning to deploy 5,000 to 10,000 troops to fight al-Shabaab, have further strained relations. This shift challenges Ethiopia's regional influence and has prompted warnings from Ethiopia about destabilization. Egypt, frustrated with stalled dam negotiations, expressed its readiness to defend its interests in a letter to the UN Security Council. Somalia's rising anti-Ethiopian stance, driven by Ethiopia's deal with Somaliland, has added to the growing tension. As both nations escalate their rhetoric, the African Union faces mounting pressure to prevent a potential split.
That's me trying to test my alarm. Because I'm trying to figure out if it's not going off, if it's going off, like what time is it going off? Sorry about that.
That's okay. It sounded like a phone call. So.
No, that was me trying to test my alarm again.
Okay.
Trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, I was kind of about to take a pause to see if anyone had a comment or anything. If you wanted to say,
they're commenting about the heat.
Yeah, well, it's hard not to because it's like in our face, right?
Well, I have a comment because maybe I don't have a comment. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what side Ethiopia is on these days.
Yeah,
it's kind of confusing.
I haven't done my my deep dive into Ethiopia yet. I still have this bit of a question mark for me too. So we'll get there maybe though. There was that war that just kind of ended. It was one of those. It's like more people died in the war in Ethiopia against the Tigray region than have died in the Ukraine war so far. And that's the kind of like, it's like been the biggest conflict of modern history that never got talked about. I wonder why. I'm sure it got talked about on the other side of the world, but in the West, we're not allowed to hear about that stuff. Nobody seems to care about that stuff, and it's very depressing because someone like me really wants to know what's happening with that kind of situation. But if not enough people are interested in, it's difficult for me to find all the information by myself.
So I have two questions. One is going to derail you, so I'm not going to ask it. So, how many of those wars have some Western involvement? I mean, I know you can't answer that because that requires a lot of uh, research.
Yeah,
But
but
I'm going to say yeah.
this is where
I-
it's like if once you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Where you start to learn about U.S. involvement in conflicts around the world, and you basically learn that they're basically involved in literally every conflict.
I'm shocked and in awe about how much I don't understand about American history when I went to the what is considered the best public schools in Louisiana, and I'm learning things that were like, oh, they just glossed over that. Like they didn't. Oh, that was purposeful.
Yeah.
Like you've often heard me say that we owe a great debt of society to Haitians in Louisiana for the French Revolution, and I'm very proud of that. And I didn't even realize we owe a great debt of society to Mexicans for the way I was taught about the Alamo and the Mexican Revolution is a whitewashed history. I did not know that they were fighting what wanted to be Texas at the time because they did not like slavery. I didn't know that.
Well, I didn't know. Yeah, there's that. What you're talking about, that I didn't really ever learn about, like the Alamo and stuff. I should learn about it
Because
one day.
you're in Canada.
Yeah, they don't.
Why would they
They
teach you
wouldn't
that?
exactly. Yeah, but it is interesting to know, like how much bigger Mexico used to be.
It was huge.
Yeah. So, but anyway.
And I didn't know a lot of like enslaved people were fleeing to Mexico. It it makes sense.
Yeah.
But they don't teach you that. And
Yeah. Well, Mexico's a little bit of a complicated thing because it's like it's a little more like radical and it's more cool than the U.S. obviously in a lot of ways. It's also still a lot of people forget that Mexico's like was colonized just like the U.S. was, but by Spaniards instead of the Brits and the French, right? So then there's a lot of tension with people like with indigenous about Mexicans because they're still Europeans, and people tend to forget that, which is part of like this subconscious racism that people have, you know.
yeah, I ordered this book about the liberation of 1830. I think it's 36. So I'm trying to relearn myself. Cowboy Kitty is here, by the way. Everybody's saying hi, so we should say hi.
Hi, Cowboy Kitty, and we all need to be having more. Try to be having some solidarity with Cowboy Kitty these days. I'm not sure if you heard, but his sister-in-law has been taken by ICE agents.
No, I did not hear that.
Yeah. So if you have, I
And
think,
I have. Okay, I did not hear that. Oh, that's awful.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's awful.
it's bad enough to hear about this kind of stuff and have to live through this period of history, but shit gets really real when it happens to people you know, so, or when it happens to you, right, to your family. So heart goes out
I
to.
mean, it really pisses me off because no CEO is going to jail. No CEO is getting courted off.
Yeah. Well, for anyone who likes to try and think of the law as some kind of good thing, like what's happening is the opposite of legal, and that's very clear to anyone who seems to have any interest in the law, except for the evil people who just use the law to get away with shit. So, two kinds of lawyers.
May I in Cowboy Kitty's defense, like someone just created an app. If I could show it to you, you can download it on your smartphone, and you could alert other people where ICE is. It's called Kokui, COQUI app. Let me see if I can pull it up and show you what the app looks like. If that's okay. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
I think
All
that
right,
he
so
said that he maybe had a GoFundMe started to try and.
oh, please put it in the
resources.
chat, and
So I'm
we'll.
not sure. I think he said he's driving right now, but whenever you get the chance, feel free to send us over that link, and we'll share it for you. Okay. I'm not sure if I don't think Cowboy Kitty's in the Discord, so that reminds me to put a link of our invite to our Discord to anybody who might want to join. Just bear with me.
Let's see. Okay, here we go. What's happening here? There we go.
Okay.
That is not me. That's you. Let me see.
I'm just gonna leave that up for a
Remove
couple seconds.
you and me.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so we'll leave that up. So here, I don't know why it's doing this. Whatever the hell this is. That I think that's. Oh, I apologize for that. That's a commercial.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see if it. I don't know what's happening. What the hell is this? Okay, I'll just explain. So it's a new app that notifies users of nearby ICE activity. Okay. So it's supposed to be anonymous. I downloaded it. It is COQUI. Here it is right here. COQUI. A free anonymous app that its creators say was made by and for immigrant communities. Safety measures include app encryption, masking of its users' locations, and anti-trolling protocols. In addition, no personal data is collected from its users either. I don't know how true this is, but I mean, I feel like I don't know how much I can help either. So hopefully this is true. Kokui, COQUI, can be used to share real-time information about immigration enforcement activity, to join groups, and to see locations and businesses that are designated by the app as safe spaces. So I have used it. I did download it, and basically there are 3 things you can you can do on the app. You can say ICE is at this location, the police are at this location, or you can designate a location where mutual aid is available at this location. So if you want to try. But CO, let me highlight it. You can't see that, can you?
Yeah, Coqui, that's a weird word. I'm not sure.
Coqui, yeah, coqui. I don't know. It must be a Spanish word because it was immigrant who made the thing. Let me get all of this out of the way. There we go. Coqui.
A small nocturnal frog.
Ah. I mean, kind of makes sense.
That's weird. Interesting choice name for the app.
Coqui, a small nocturnal frog. Yeah, that is weird. But it is a frog on the app though. So they must have meant that. They meant that shit.
I probably picked it for a cute little mascot. So sorry.
And then remember there's I wrote it down. It's ICE. Hold on.
But antediluvian
ICE.
That it's pronounced Coqui.
Coqui. Thank you.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. And then there's ICE. No, icelist.is. There we go. It's changing. So remember this one, icelist.is, where if you can establish the name of an ICE agent, you can list it here, and you can find ICE agents already here. They have some. I looked through it, and there are people on here. Like they show you their pictures and stuff. Now I don't know, is this doxing or protecting yourself? I don't know.
They're public officials, you know.
They're public. They're supposed to be public officials.
They were operating in a private manner,
right?
Like, yeah.
So they explain on this website that some of the faces that they get are from public record, and they're like trying to find people, and a lot of the people who cover their faces, those are the ones they're looking for, and of course, you said the glitter. I mean, the pictures of them when they're not in their uniform because glitter.
I don't know.
Very hard.
I don't know if it's just me. It sounded like a little bit of an audio distortion or something, like you were underwater for a minute there.
Me?
I think you're back now. It sounds, but I don't know if that was me or if anyone else noticed that, but I don't know what that even was or whatever.
No, Lance, I'm not a French speaker. I am a Louisianian, but I'm not a French speaker. I know a few like Creole statements and things like that, but I don't speak French. No.
Well, I'm the French speaker, but I haven't
because you're the Canadian
for so long. Well, also because I went to the extra French side in school.
Yeah, and the French that we know is not like real French. Like I've been to France. No,
I can't.
It's not real French.
And they speak too fast. I try to listen to them on TV sometimes just to test myself. And French speakers in Africa, because like they got some African
because
dialect like added to it, so it's impossible for me to understand. But and I don't even speak it enough with anybody in my life, and I just read everything in English, so I am losing my French slowly. But anyway, we're getting all over a bit
you should
tonight.
you should watch French movies on purpose so you don't lose it. You know
That's
what I
what I've been
mean?
trying to do sometimes, but I get kind of bored, and it's like too much. It's like
Bored.
work instead of entertainment, But it's worth doing if you do it enough, and you get used to it, and yeah. Anyway,
Oh my gosh. I'm looking at the comments. Lance. Oh, Lance. He's ashamed of me.
it's too bad.
C'est dommage, Harry. He's
It's
ashamed
too
of
bad, honey.
me.
It's too bad. No worries.
You get on with it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Maybe one day I'll try and do a podcast with a French Canadian. We'll do the whole thing in French. We'll see how that should be fun.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Oh, I wouldn't be able to keep up. I really wouldn't. Oh, I'm calm.
Okay, so what are we?
No, yeah. So should I add this back to the stage?
Yeah, I think
Uh,
finished. But
Old man Barker's trying to get in on it. He's like, we. Everybody knows we, old man Barker. It's like French in Louisiana is not French. It's like this broken French, and the French is so broken that if you're a Creole and you're a Cajun, you don't know what each other are talking about. That's how broken it is. So there's no way I could actually understand French.
Well, Jimmy's a very fluent speaker, Jimmy Tessio. Bonsoir, cela fait plaisir de voir qu'il reste des amoureux de la langue française.
Oh, that was good. No, what did he say?
I could read the whatever the words correctly, but sometimes I forget the meanings of certain words. But he's saying,
like, please,
good night tonight. Have makes pleasing to it makes him
pleasing to rest in love of the French language.
There still exists a love for the French language. Yeah.
See, I kind of read it.
Yeah. I'm kind of like an amateur linguist too, whatever. I just have an appreciation for language in general, right? It's interesting to me. And like you're saying about the French, like the Creole's not the same anymore. That's just the way that people got to get used to language, whatever. It's not meant to stay the same. Whatever the way that we understand each other today, 100 years from now, English isn't going to be the same at all. It's going to be a whole new language. So people just got to get used to that instead of trying to be such a conservative about it. We're going to make this language stay alive forever or whatever. No, you're not. It's not how it works.
No, you're not. Like, that's not how evolving works. No, you're not. Redneck French would be very difficult to understand. Like that guy from the Water, not the Water Boy. Look, that was the worst French I ever heard in my life. That was like the fakest French. What was the name? Whatever. Yeah, the Water Boy. That was kind of rude. A rude example of what French people or Cajun people are.
Some of these movies are funny, but
I love my cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love my cousins. They are quite the entertaining people, and they are fun, and they are always invited to the cookout.
I see Golden Monarchs entered the chat. What's up? Always good to see you.
Yeah, I kind of derailed you, and I apologize. So I'm gonna let you get back to the get back.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready.
No problem. No problem. It was kind of nice to have a little bit of a break because I don't know how some of these people do it or whatever. They stream for hours and they talk all day.
That was the craziest part of it is you already know I've been talking like the last 2 days with Blue Moon Red Wine on her podcast.
Yeah,
so for me to miss my own, it was just I was like, what?
That's all good. Wherever I've been thinking where we should try a bit to at least like I don't know about someone's knocking on my door. I'm gonna have to hold that thought. I'll be right back. All right.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah, there you go. All right, one second.
I got you. Go ahead. Come on, Bella. Ooh, Bella is going crazy. So I'm French and Creole are my native language. Oh, Creole is your native language. Jimmy, where are you from? Senior back and forth. Oh, you know what? Me and Dr. Nick almost had a little bit of a tizzy. I wasn't sure if, I didn't know we were actually fighting. I thought it was cool. I thought it was just a dialogue, but she felt like we were arguing. I don't know. He almost tried to insult me, like I'm delusional and he don't even know me. And I was like, wait, you've been on my pop. You've been in my chat before. What are you talking about? And I hope he comes back because I thought it was a good conversation. And I'd love to continue it. Oh, Oma and Barker. Wait, you were there too? Were you there too?
Okay. Sorry about that.
So apparently some people in the chat were heard my conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say whatever. Everyone go check out Blue Moon Red Wine's last episode. Although by now it's probably not her last episode. I don't know how many.
I thought she was on a sabbatical.
But she I don't know.
And now she's back. So
who knows?
Whatever.
Streams all the time, so she's probably done a couple shows already since. You got to try watch the last couple of shows to find one where Abby was on. I didn't really see the part where she came on because I had to go to work, but I did hear her talking to the guest before Abby came on. Apparently, I saw Abby in the chat and stuff, but anyway.
You're talking about Michael. So yeah, so she had to leave and Michael and I chatted it up. And then I was on the next morning and she was there and I was like, oh, I caught her again. And that one was really interesting because she was really ranting about this black podcaster that she can't stand.
Was it Tariq Nasheed?
No, it was Philip Scott. She can't stand Tariq Nasheed either.
I don't know Philip Scott, but I probably wouldn't like him either if he's anything like Tariq Nasheed. I don't like that guy that much either.
You don't like Tariq Nasheed?
No.
I like him.
What I've heard
and I feel like maybe you have to be black to understand it. But there are a lot of podcasters that I don't like all the way, but I still listen to them on purpose. So I can learn how they feel and what their way of thinking is. Michael was surprised that I listened to Jimmy Dore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I listen to Due Dissidence. I listen to a lot of white podcasters, and I didn't even explain that to him. But to be a white person that is just like, I don't like Philip Scott, and I don't like Tariq Nasheed. Okay. But can you take anything from what they're saying? Because I don't take everything from them, but I take the best parts.
Yeah.
As with any podcaster, if anybody's listening to us right now, you don't have to agree with everything we say. Take the best parts.
Yeah. Well, this is where I would say becoming like more communist, adopting that kind of an mindset. That's where that does affect now what it defines why I like or dislike people in a big way. It's not the only reason why, but it is a factor as to why when I evaluate a person. So that's kind of like I'm a little too focused on trying to make some socialist change actually happen, and so then that's kind of how I decide. Well, I don't really like this public figure because they aren't socialist enough or whatever for me. So that's more why I don't like someone like Tariq Nasheed and stuff. But
he's not a socialist. He's a capitalist.
Exactly.
So I got excited because Black Life, you couldn't hear her. She was like, after I said what I said, she was like, or the truth. Like, just take the truth. That's all you need is truth.
Because it don't have no color.
Because truth doesn't have a color. That's what she's saying in the background. I'm just speaking for her, or a party or a affiliation.
It is
what it is. It's the truth.
Yeah. Hey Tasha, what's up? Good to hear from you.
Michael said hi. Good to hear from you. I don't know if you heard that. She said, "What up, Michael?"
I heard it.
So yeah. Should I I derailed the whole thing. I'm so
That's
sorry.
all good. It's all good. We just it's nice to be a little bit more organic that way, where we can talk about like things that we weren't expecting to talk about, and sometimes people hear things they weren't going to hear otherwise because people go on tangents instead of trying to be a little too I don't know fixated on being organized.
Yeah. So may I take this time to let people know in the chat that we are putting together a panel to discuss, should Black people be in the streets protesting immigration? I am super excited about this panel. So it's going to happen. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah, no, sounds good. Because I've been that discussion that we had, I think, last week, and the one that you were having on Blue Moon Red Wine, that's something that we should be. It's time for us to kind of talk about it, right? So
it is.
Yeah,
it is.
But yeah, let's get back to finish off some reading here, and it's already 1 hour and a half in, so let's use the rest of our time diligently, I guess. Let me see. We'll just blow this up one more. No, it's a little too far. Okay. I gotta find where I was now. So the African Union faces mounting pressure to prevent a potential war, with some experts suggesting that Egypt might resort to military measures if diplomacy fails. In addition to Egypt's military mobilization in Somalia, Turkey is preparing to deploy naval support to Somali waters, following an agreement to explore for oil and gas off the Somali coast. President Tayyip Erdogan has submitted a motion to the Turkish parliament seeking approval for Turkish military deployment, including within Somalia's territorial waters. This comes after Turkey's energy ministry announced plans to send an exploration vessel later this year as part of a hydrocarbon cooperation deal. Turkey has been a key ally to Somalia, offering extensive aid, including building schools, hospitals, infrastructure, and providing scholarships for Somali students. So this, website, whoever's writing this article, seems to be a little uncritical about Turkey, or maybe even supportive of the actions of Turkey here in Somalia. And I'm kind of going to pour cold water on that bullshit, because the U.S. is exploiting the shit out of Somalia from the one side, and Turkey is part of NATO, kind of does their foreign policy in tandem with the U.S. in a lot of ways. They're kind of like the two pincers that are exploiting Somalia in a big way would be Turkey and the U.S., not to mention Ethiopia and Egypt, right? But let's just not have rose-colored glasses about Turkey, right? So it's at least not under someone like Erdogan. So Erdogan.
Yeah. Because I wasn't here before. Did you cover how Donald Trump is like bombing the shit out of Somalia right now?
Yeah, I read the opening article was like about they're more on track to beat the record for bombing last year or whatever, you know. So
and nobody's talking about it.
Yeah,
mainstream media is so quiet. Like, if we're gonna be so gung-ho over Palestine, where is the care for Africans?
Well, especially with Somalia, I think we should. Why are people not tying what's happening in Somalia in with what's happening with Palestine? Because who is a big supporter of Palestine? Yemen, right? So who's doing all this blockade in the Red Sea? Yemen. So what's on the other side of what's the nation directly juxtaposed across the sea from Yemen? Is Somalia. So you would think that it's very important, very strategic location that the U.S. can't afford to lose, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. So, yeah.
Wait, hold on. I have to address this really quickly. So Golden Monarch says, so Somalia is a new distraction to attempt to shut down Epstein and Gaza. Talking points, eh? And then there's still CCOT. No, Golden Monarch. Nobody's talking about Somalia. Like, it's just us. Like, who else is talking about Somalia? So it's not a distraction. What we're saying is Epstein in Gaza is overshadowing all the other atrocities that are going on in this world, and Somalia is one of them, and so is CCOT. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Are you in agreement, Michael? Or
yeah,
let me let you speak for yourself.
Just as far as like everyone's on the like pushing real hard for us to keep the focus on Epstein stuff. I'm not really too opposed to people want to like. Now's a good opportunity for if they can keep that pressure up. Or whatever. Trump is really being raked on the coals by that story right now. So, you know, I'm happy to see it or whatever. I just don't really feel like personally we have a whole lot more to add to that. You know, I'm not like, I don't really have any new information for anybody. So no, as a smaller influencer, we don't really have the clout necessary to be able to actually create the legal change.
Listening to us.
So I feel like we can spend our friends here more strategically effectively. I hope people don't think that we're whatever on the wrong side on the Epstein stuff, obviously, right? It's just
we aren't covering it because everybody else is. So like what's the fucking point? Right? Like everything you need to know about the Epstein files and Israel has already been said by every other podcaster. So we want to make a point to cover other stuff. I want to ask Golden Monarch. I don't even know who Z Squirrel is. So if you could invite me to their Discord, I'd be happy. And because I didn't even know Hardlens was covering this. I've been trying to follow him more. It's hard to get up that early in the morning because my mom is she's a night crawler, so I go to sleep late, so I don't get up that early all the time. But yeah, if you can invite me to Z Squirrels, go to Monarch, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, she's. I always found her takes interesting on Twitter. I don't spend as much time on Twitter these days as I used to, but I have to try and find a way how to spend my time on Twitter effectively. So, yeah, in the UK, the police are threatening to arrest people who are waving Palestinian flags and holding placards saying "I'm against genocide." Yeah, it's pretty.
It's even worse than that. You know, I've been trying to set up this database. Um, there's this guy. I can't remember what his name is. He's trying to like make it a 5-year jail sentence for free speech against um, uh, being pro-Israel, like anti-Israel, will be a 5-year jail sentence for, I think he said, like threatening or a hate crime. I wish I knew his name. I'm just not prepared to tell you who he is. And I was just shocked and in awe. Because I mean, it really is insulting. Because they can go around with Confederate flags and anti-blackness all they want, but don't say shit about Israel. And there, people really aren't saying shit about Israel. They're saying shit about the government. I mean, people are people. The government is an entirely different thing.
Yeah.
If they can make free speech fuzzy, like they did with the man-woman thing. I don't think the man-woman thing is fuzzy. I think it's a clarification. I don't understand. Okay, as a woman, I don't understand why women are so up in arms about being called a cis woman. It's just an adjective. It's an adjective in front of a word. I don't mind, because if you want to identify trans women and trans men, then don't you have to identify the other two? I don't know. I don't think it's a big fucking deal. I think people are making it a big deal.
Yeah, I think.
Let it go.
Yeah, I think that I've said it before, but it's a good time to reiterate whatever. Like I think there does deserve to be a bit of a fuzzy distinction when we're talking about the man versus woman, because there is a kind of gray area to be acknowledged, and people want to make it black and white, where no, only men and women exist biologically, or that's very hardcore kind of.
That's not true, because
some people will not let that go. I'm not trying to be one of those people, right? So,
yeah, there are people who have they used to call them hermaphrodites. The word has evolved to intersex. Yeah. There are people born with both sex organs, so it's not true.
Like, when our sciences come
leave these
very
people alone.
I give people some grace, because our science is still, if you think in the very large scales, it's only very recently that we actually developed the science to the point where we have some pretty rational explanations for what's going on there. Because before, for the longest time, people didn't have the tools necessary to actually make the argument properly. But now we do. But then so things have changed, but people haven't quite changed with the times.
So thank you, and to be an atheist, I don't need trans stuff explained. I mean, I lived in New York City for 20-something years. I know plenty of trans people. I think I'm good on the subject, but like, if I say something that's out of pocket, comment. I don't know what this means. What about adjectives like nappy headed? I don't even, where did that come from? And why would you say that to me?
You're saying,
I
what
don't
do we think
understand.
about the use of those terms? Do we think we should or should not be allowed to use them or something? Is that what you mean?
I don't understand where that came from.
Cobra's got a good comment here. He's saying, being a man has nothing to do with what's between your legs. Being a man is a social role within your culture. Some cultures have many roles. I tell all a man has is his word. So I agree with you there, like 100%. So, and this is something for me personally where I'm trying not to be ashamed of the idea of thinking, like, for myself, for my own self-esteem, I should want to be a man, right? Because that's what I'm supposed to be, trying to be in this society, right? Be a real man, not one of these men who think being misogynistic is what it mean being a man means.
That is a very good discussion. I mean, that's something we kind of talked about on Blue Moon Red Wine. I mean, I talked with Michael about it. Oh, his name was Michael too. um, about gender roles and just go back and watch. I don't want to get too much into it.
But I would just for last comment on that, I would say I think that the people can be a little bit picky about the pronouns or whatever. You have to use my pronouns. It makes me feel better. It's like I don't really care.
That gets on my nerves too.
I understand though, maybe as someone who feels the need to use them to identify as a certain way, then it would be more important for them or whatever. But I don't have that subjective experience, so I apologize.
I feel like people who are just like overly just, oh, you didn't use my correct pronouns. Okay, well, I'm sorry, sir. You look like a dude to me. So if I'm in if I have my like Southern heritage and I'm looking at you, I say ma'am, sir. Some people in New York would get upset that I call them ma'am or sir. Not because of pronouns, but because of the word ma'am or sir. Like, why are you talking to me like that? Oh, that's how we show respect in the South. I don't know. And they took it as like condescension or something. So everybody doesn't take everything the same way.
Yeah.
And if you look a certain way and I accidentally call you out of your pronoun, it's not because I'm trying to be mean. That's how you look.
Yeah.
And for you to try to force me to defy my eyes, I think that's rude on your part. Like, let it go. I don't give a damn if somebody call me ma'am, sir, he, she, they, baby. I don't care.
Yeah. Now, that being said,
I understand why they care.
Yeah, but like with that being said, there are also people who are just going out of their way to be a dick, whatever. They know full well that somebody wants to be treated or acknowledged in this kind of way, and they refuse to do that. And every time they choose, like dead naming people, I think is the term, where when a person transitions, they change their name. Some people refuse to be respectful enough to call them by their new name, and they insist on calling them their old name, and that's just being a fucking insulting.
That's just being a fucking dick. Yeah,
exactly,
on purpose. Because like if you, I mean, okay, I pulled this up on purpose. Antediluvian atheist. Okay, no one gets upset when you make a mistake. We get upset when you say no. I know better. I don't believe that to be true because I've experienced it. But I understand what you're saying. I have had people. There are some trans people that I know in my life that it clearly translates to the pronoun that they want. So it's easier to just say he or she. And I've had trans people in my life that are, is the word ambiguous? It's not even ambiguous. It's like, you want me to call you her, but my eyes see male. Like, you don't look like a her to me. And I'm not trying to offend you. It's just my brain is not connecting to her. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
I'm not trying to be rude. Like,
Yeah.
So I think, and for people to be overly sensitive to that, I worked at a company. I can't say the company, of course. I worked at a company where there was a woman that worked there. She clearly did not look like a trans woman. She looked like a man. And she was on my team. I was a project manager, and she was always like telling me to let the it was like a arts, they were artsy fartsy. So this was clearly something that could be done in this company. She was always telling me to remind the client to not use the incorrect pronouns. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, I tell them, but you look like a man. And it's hard for them to say her to someone that looks like a he. It's just hard.
Well,
it's
do like
that.
You'd think that them being the person who looks like that they would be well aware, they get it all the time, right? That they kind of, you understand why they would be sensitive about it, but you also kind of understand why they would develop a thick skin about it. It's like we choose how we react to things, I suppose, in a sense, right? And that can be a little condescending, kind of like a liberal kind of talking point, right? But there's some truth to it. So,
and this is a good point, Jacqueline. I'm finding the older I get, it's like it does get harder. It does get harder. So people have to be sensitive to people, right? Like, I can't remember who I was saying that me and Dr. Dr. Riviera, it seemed like we were having an argument. I was like, well, I don't feel like we're arguing. I mean, I feel like we're having a conversation. But and I feel like I offended him, and I was like, oh, that wasn't I wasn't trying to, like, I'm not trying to offend people. I'm just trying to talk.
No, but now I'm also learning that, like, I gotta not be walking on eggshells too much. Like, I'm not trying to offend people, but I'm also trying not to become neurotic because I'm trying not to offend someone. Right? People are gonna get offended. It's out of my control sometimes. Right?
Oh, let me address this one. Okay, antediluvian atheist. You're making the same argument racists make when they describe Black women as not feminine. It's hard. Okay, learn. Okay, let me explain to you that, okay, there are a lot of feminine Black women, but Black women don't have the space to be as feminine as white women because we are always feeling in danger. Like, the government took Black men away from the family. The government purposely imprisoned Black men for weed when white men was snorting cocaine all over the place for free. So Black women had to build a thicker skin than any other woman in America. So yes, we are more masculine, and that's okay. It's not so. If they use that as a racist trope, I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, I'm masculine, but I'm also feminine. And if I wasn't feminine, who gives a fuck? I mean, that's just my take. Hi, Mom. How you doing?
All right.
You back from church?
No.
I'm sorry. 1 second.
No worries. Yeah.
Take brother home.
Oh, you didn't tell me. You could have told me.
He was asleep
Okay.
and stuff, so I didn't want to wake him.
Okay. I'm glad you're home.
Tasha is outside.
Okay.
Jimmy's got a comment here that's where I tend to, where my thinking goes, where I've kind of sorted out how I feel about the LGBTQ politics and stuff. I got no problem with them. My concern now is graduated to transhumanism, because if there's a lot of trans people.
Can you explain what he's saying? What is Peter Thiel's trend? I don't.
So
because I don't know.
There's
What Peter
transhumanism to me
Thiel's
is the next controversial thing people need to be determining what their views on are, and then some people will be in support of it, and some people like me will be against it, and then people maybe will cast those of us that are against transhumanism as the new bigots, right? But I think it's important to be against it. Transhumanism is like much farther than like transsexualism, where some people have a problem with a trans person wants to transition. They shouldn't have the right to change their sex organs because of modern technology. There's just something inherently wrong about that, or whatever. Like that's
what you said. Transhumanism.
But transhumanism is
don't
beyond
have the right
that. It's like you have the right to like transcend humanity, or whatever, where you're allowed to do like almost like man merging with technology, or whatever, in order to become a superhuman.
I mean, if you have the right to make your lips bigger, change your eyes, change your make bigger breasts, make bigger booty. Some people have even made themselves taller. I mean, if we're doing all that and it's okay, then it's okay. I really don't care.
Like it's okay, but then you have to think about the implications, or whatever. You got to think about where it goes from there, because it doesn't just stop, or whatever. It's like they're going to permanently change the human, like everything.
You can't change DNA.
They will.
You can make your
transhumanism is so serious that the DNA, the integrity of the human DNA itself, will be compromised. We will never be able to. You will not be able to have people who want to stay their original human, whatever. Our genome will not be allowed to remain intact, because what they're doing is going to change humanity forever. Where they're
okay. Can you hold that thought for 1 second? Because I don't know what transhumanism is. So
we'll have to do a show on it.
I have to listen to you. Yeah, we have to do a show.
You know how I worry about eugenics. That's my concern. I think the transhumanism is the next, is eugenics 2.0.
The next level. Oh, okay. Yeah. I wanted to say to antediluvian atheists that you know, I empathize with you for that, because if you're working in a rest home, they're older people, and I know it's hard for them to they're so stuck in their ways that they can't, you know. Yeah. Anyway, I empathize with you, and I don't know what you look like, so I can't really say anything.
Maybe we can have her on, maybe we can have them on one day.
Yeah, can you tell us your pronouns? Because I'm not sure. because I've never seen you. And your name doesn't say female, male, or they. I don't know. Yeah, transhumanism. I really don't know anything about it. So
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that you're gonna have. You can't exactly be neutral on the transhumanism issue.
read that.
Yeah, DNA is already edible. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is one of those things. I think it's because like the older you are, maybe the less likely you are to be as up on the cutting edge stuff, or the younger people are the ones who are who are in the thick of it, because they're the ones that all the technology, the stuff is going to be developed for, right? A lot of the older people don't have the skin in the game.
So antediluvian is a. They said they're intersex. They them, and we were talking about that. Like you just don't know.
Yeah, in
So
that case, then if we try to call them a he or a she, we would just not be able to be respectful. We will have to use they them. So that's the thing about the pronouns, right? They have a purpose.
right, and I'm 48. Okay, um, and I'm 48 from the South. Like I said, I got shit for being in New York calling people sir and ma'am. Like I thought it was a sign of respect. They thought it was contention. You know what I mean? Like it depends on where you are, where you're from, um, how you view things. Some people aren't trying to be disrespectful when they say things to you. And so we have to have some grace so we can come together. So like if I saw, for example, antediluvian, I'm just gonna use you as I'm not gonna use you. I'm just gonna use a random this cup. If I saw this cup and this cup looked like a he, but this cup felt like a she, and I say, sir, this cup gets mad. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. It's it's just I'm thinking I'm showing respect to you and you feel disrespected. So we all have to give grace to each other in some way. That's all I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no problem. Just checking out some comments. Nina's saying she go down to the Mormon church because transhumanism's there too. That's kind of surprising, but not exactly. Churches are always hypocritical. So, antediluvian saying, "I'm doing fine, relax. Yeah, appreciate you. I might be getting a little tense.
Wait, am I doing fine?
For a smoke soon.
Look, please tell me, am I doing fine? Because I feel like my chest is feeling tight because I feel like I'm being like I feel like I'm being aggressive. Not aggressive. What's the word? Like I don't know.
Well, she was having a bit of a disagreement with your takes there, so maybe you'd be, it makes more sense for you to be a little bit anxious.
Yeah, I feel anxious. Like I feel a little anxious. Good because I feel like I'm hurting a person I don't want to hurt, and I wasn't trying to. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. We got to try not to turn neurotic about stuff.
Thank you, Antediluvian.
Cool. Thanks. Okay. Getting past two hours here, so I maybe have to like revisit, like finish my presentation later, because I really still, there's a bunch more that I didn't even get into. Like I could just try and do a bit of a speed headline showing kind of stuff without reading the articles and stuff. But like one thing that you'll notice, as far as the NATO propaganda about Somalia, they're going to try and insinuate that Al-Shabaab and the Houthis are working together. So those of us who are socialist inclined know how full of shit that is. But a lot of people, pro-capitalist or whatever, they'll eat that shit right up. So be aware that is most likely false. So what else was
I feel like I derailed the whole entire conversation.
yeah,
And
that's fine. Also,
I'm
yeah.
super anxious right now about that too. Because I just jumped in and you were talking about something very important, and now I'm being like
Okay.
very.
We were also talking about other things that are also important, and this is what happens with we can never resolve any of these contradictions in any of these conversations because everyone wants to say that conversation is not important enough to talk about right now. We need to talk about this. And then that conversation that we have to talk about also gets interrupted because this conversation is also so important. And it's like trying to spin plates or something, right? They're all just going to crash to the ground because you can't actually keep up with all of them at the same time. So, what I also wanted to talk about the president of Somalia, the Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, because when you evaluate the leaders of these places, it really is quite telling as to how did things get this way? Why are things fucked up still, right? So he's basically like, and always with the wealthy leaders, look into their net worth. So like that president guy is worth like $5 million, but he had been given like a $40,000 a month retirement thing, whatever package for being president in a country that, when you look at it, it's always important to look at the problems with the currency, right? So I was curious what the valuation of, well, first of all, what is the Somali currency? It's called the Somali shilling, and it is 571 Somali shillings for $1. Okay, so that is massive deflation of the currency, depreciation of the value of the sovereign currency of the nation. And so they use the US dollars instead. So I called the stream US Airstrikes Somalia into forced dollarization, because that's kind of the main, like, we can talk about the blood and gore and like the atrocities all day long, but you'll never end up talking about the dollar. You don't understand how to actually get out of the situation, because the only way you're ever going to fix Somalia is if you get them off of the dollar. Like these countries that are forced to use dollars instead of their own currency, that's like what we consider like failed states. And that's something that America does to nations on purpose, especially with this, like in the context of the BRICS, with the de-dollarization agenda. It's extremely important to pay attention to what's happening in a place like Somalia, because America's using these places to shore up its failing hegemony by force. So they should never be allowed. No country has the right to do this to a nation or whatever, to preserve its currency, right? You don't get to destroy your neighbors. You don't get to burn your neighbor's house down or whatever so that you can prevent your house from burning down. Okay. So the other thing that's strange.
It's like call
Oh,
me
sorry.
it's okay. I don't want to not be called a patriot, but I hope the petrodollar falls.
Exactly.
Because
Like
we don't deserve it.
A patriotic thing is to pray for it to finally, like a Canadian, whatever. I want our housing market to collapse for the good of all of us, for the love of God.
For the good of everybody. I hope the petrodollar falls.
Exactly. Yeah. No, yeah. But the other thing I was going to mention was the strange thing to. You would think that the inflation rate in Somalia would be extremely high. So I went to look that up, and it turns out that well, I got to find it here. Yeah, 5.8%. So that doesn't really make sense, considering I just told you like it's 505 Somali shillings to $1. But it does make sense when it is the very fact of dollarization that has stabilized the inflation rate, but at an extreme cost of sovereignty of the nation. So those are like the facts that people need to keep in mind. And then when like I was gonna get talking into about the IMF, I'm sure you guys are in the chat are extremely well acquainted with what the IMF does to countries, really. But Somalia is the perfect example of when people say that China does the debt trap diplomacy. Look at how much money Somalia owes to China. 2% of their debt is owed to China. Okay, 60% is owed to the IMF, World Bank. Okay, the Western powers. Okay, and the other, like, it's like the other people holding the debt are all the same players that we know are allies with the West, right? Like the Arab Gulf monarchies, right? So
There's a question. There's a question for you in the chat.
Yeah. Lance, this one. You do realize that when the Canadian housing market crashes, more people will be urinating in public. That's fine. I just did that yesterday, actually. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
The thing with that to me is, and we could be wrong, but we could be right. I'm sorry, I'm over here crying. I feel so anxious.
No worries.
The thing with that is, like, it has to get worse before it gets better. And are we willing to accept that it gets worse, or are we not? Because here in America, like, it's a clown show. It's really sad to watch. And are we devolving into, like, how far are we going to go before we can build ourselves back up?
Yeah.
We've gone too far. Like, I'm sick of it. So yeah, I think I'm willing at this point to, I don't know. We've been here before. We've been through a depression before. We could do it again.
Yeah. Well, that's what you're saying is that's something I think about kind of maybe a lot, or whatever, right? So.
Oh, Jimmy's leaving.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, Jimmy. We're going to have to be wrapping up here shortly, too. I understand everyone tends to be, like, Jacqueline's probably getting ready for bed shortly, so we'll try and be respectful of your time. But I just was to follow up on your comment there. I do recognize that, like, I don't see things ever changing for the better, like you're saying, unless things in some way kind of have to get worse before they get better. And when you start to understand this as the real truth, that's kind of a problem for, like, maybe the more normie people who, like, the people who are not radicalized. They see you as, like, becoming psychotic in a way, because that's what we see as the way what we need to do to actually create positive anything.
It's so interesting that you say that. One of my good friends, she said, you know, I don't see a problem, because there's a lot of homelessness in New York City. I mean, in big cities, there's homelessness, and a lot of people act like homelessness is a big problem in big cities. It's really not, because homeless people, you are not going to do well in Utah. Like, how are you going to survive? You need foot traffic. That's why homeless people gravitate to big cities, because there's enough foot traffic that people will give you things so you can be homeless. I mean, that's a big reason why homeless people are in big cities. And she was just saying how, people think homeless people are crazy. I just think I think we're crazy.
Some of them are completely sane, savvier than you are. All that.
Yeah. This is what she's. I'm sorry. I just want to get this thought out.
Okay.
She was like, I I think a lot of homeless people are just so sensitive that they can't numb themselves enough to be in this society. They just checked out. Like, I don't want any part of this.
Yep.
And I'm trying to figure out, as a person that's not homeless, that's like navigating through this society, why we ain't all out in the street pissing in the street? Like, like we should all be like, fuck this.
Yeah, well, and from my personal experience, I was homeless for a couple of months. I don't know how many, like 5 years ago at least, more than that now. But that, and what you're saying about maybe they just like don't know how, like this identity crisis, this loss of connection with the self, whatever. I feel like that was a big part of it. It's like you just, things get so difficult that you lose track of how to be who you are, and that becomes actually devastating, as far as then you lose this, then you lose that, then you end up here, because you're kind of in this like mental fuck state, right? Fugue state, I think they call it, whatever. But
I'm being told that and thank you for telling me this, that there's like a homeless problem in small cities around the country as well. People who are in smaller cities are saying there's homelessness problems in their cities too. So thank you for that. But I do know that homeless people do gravitate to bigger cities if they can, on purpose, because of the foot traffic. I don't know what this scary thing, if you do if you look to pre-revolutionary Russia, China, Korea, etc., it has to get a lot worse. Yeah. I think they were referring to when I was saying,
yeah,
when
I saw that comment, I was kind of waiting because we were talking, whatever. But it kind of makes me think of the difference between like a communist and a socialist, right? Because when the communists are always the more extreme, like hardcore, for a reason, because when they take the analysis far enough, they see what has to be done, and then the other people are like, maybe just, I agree with the socialist stuff, but I'm not willing to entertain the notion that we have to do that violent takeover scenario in order to make things change. And then that failure, I think that's a failure of thinking, because it's like idealistic or whatever. It's, I'm choosing to believe this, not because it's right, but because it feels better. And I think that communists are more, I know that this makes me feel like shit to believe this, but I have to believe it because this is what my instincts tell me is actually objectively true. So.
Well, I'm going to ask Yanina to, if you could elaborate before I put your comment up, elaborate on the pre-collapse Russia comment, if you don't mind, and then we could talk about it. And hi, Bad Cookies. Well, yes, I've been crying.
We're talking about like pre-revolutionary China specifically. It gets on my nerves that people have some axe to grind for China nowadays, as if there's such an evil empire. They clearly don't really understand what China used to be, what they're trying to restore, right? So
I don't consider China an evil empire.
I know anti-communist, but I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. I've never been to China, but one of my best friends has been to China several times. That doesn't mean he knows everything about China, but he has a somewhat of perspective, I guess. The person, Bad Cookies, we want to do a panel on should Black people be protesting for immigrants, because I want to like I want more perspective. I want to delve into it. I think it's important to talk about. And but I was trying to. I was like, we don't have an Asian. We need an Asian, Michael. And I found an Asian. That sounds so bad. Remember when I was like the Asian? I was like, oh my God, it sounds like the black.
No, but in a certain sense,
I didn't mean it that way.
yeah, this is another funny thing too. Whatever. It's like not that we're looking for token people, but if we're actually
Yes, no, we're looking for balance.
we need to not shun them. Like we never talk about Asians, partly because we don't seem to really have too many like Asians in our chat.
Our podcast, like I don't have many. Well, I do listen to Asian podcasters, but they have so many subscribers that I'm like, they're not going to entertain me to ask them to come on my podcast with like barely 200 subscribers. This might be a good time to say like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, we're almost at 200. We should make it our little goal for trying to reach. But yeah.
But we want to do a podcast. No, I'm sorry. Town hall or a panel to discuss this specific issue because it is a big deal. Like I don't want to get into it, but Bad Cookies, I want you to come. And whoever wants to come, tell us in Discord. We can't have that too many people because then it'll be like really hard to compartmentalize everybody's thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we should try having.
But we should try to have like.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Enough people of different cultures and, so everybody can, and everybody's not a monolith, right? So just because we have, like, we can't tokenize people. Oh, we got the black one and the Asian one and the, but we do need to not just be me and you.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, if you want, if my perspective is lacking on some group or other and you want it to grow, I may need to actually talk to those groups. Can't do that.
Antidote said they're down. Bad Cookie said they're down.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Sounds good. I'll be looking forward to it. So we'll organize that up when we can. So it's just so what are we doing some closing?
I really wanted Political Matrix to be on there.
Oh yeah.
And I'd kind of like Lucia to be there too, because she, she's a little Spitfire.
Yeah. Well, we got a
Spitfire of a white girl.
We'll probably be best off doing multiple occasions of this kind of thing, or whatever. You can't fit everything into one show, so why try, right? Let's just do it.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Okay. And to Lupin said that they're gonna dig up a mic and charge a laptop.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
The whole thing, wherever you want to do the socialist stuff, whoever try not to be shy. This is where you can't be socialist and anti-socialist personality wise, where you're gonna have to overcome that hurdle, right?
Showing knock jokes would be good. And some dad jokes too.
Oh yeah. See, I don't know if I got any dad jokes on the tip of my tongue, but
I mean, we did have the dance party, which I would like to do again, but
actually somebody's sharing
shit got real for me in July. Shit got real.
Someone was sharing some funny memes just before the stream shot off. So as far as funny dad jokes or whatever, it was like, why are humans the only creatures that drink milk as adults? Well, it's easy for you. You have supermarkets and stuff. Hey, Mary, can I suck some milk from your titties? Fuck off, pervert. You see? So, then there's get a load of this guy, and he's a dude holding two pictures, and it's a sperm bank. Or this guy. So then the pun is, get a load of this guy. I love those jokes.
Oh, Bad Cookies, thank you. The dance party was cool. We should do another one.
Yeah, don't expect me to Don't be impressed by.
I want you to dance a little bit. Dancing, yeah.
See, to me, dancing is more fun as more of like a private thing. I'm not really like into. To me, like it's made me nervous enough to do the podcasting thing, right? But then that's like I guess it's like probably a phobia of mine. Whatever.
So this will be a good opportunity for you to jump out of your shell.
I like my shell.
You could do this.
Yeah, I may have to work on the chair dancing, whatever. Like,
chair dancing is fun.
Like Tasha's saying.
Oh, Tasha is a chair dancer. She's not going to get up at all. Yeah.
Well, I've always maybe I'll show you my. I'm more of like I like to play the music instead of dance with it. That's always the way I used to be. So I used to play guitar, but I don't really anymore. It's in my closet. So maybe one day I'll break out the guitar for you guys instead of doing a dance for you. See how that goes.
You can play the guitar?
The bass guitar. Sorry, I should say.
And
probably still, I could probably still play. It's been a long time since I played. Like literally.
Bro, you should have led with that.
Yeah, but I've never really could make something out of it. I couldn't
read that.
I tried to get in a band with some people, but was never sociable enough to make that work. So.
Read that.
Dance like nobody's watching, Nilo. Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
Are you talking about Kit like Hard Lens Kit? Just maybe. Wondering.
Probably.
Just wondering.
I would like to meet both the Kits or whatever. Kit Cabello and Kit Clarenberg. Those two cool dudes.
A chair dancing club. If you came to the dance party, Black Life was chair dancing. Never got up. I can't dance.
You can dance.
Unfortunately.
I could probably dance if I had I ever learned, but I never really did. So I just don't have the skills. It is a skill, right? So.
Mm-hmm. It is a skill. Like I can move to the beat, but I can't dance. There's a difference. You know what, Lance? I feel you. Where them dollars at?
You saying he still has a 4 and a 5 string? I have the 6 string in the closet, but I'm missing the 6th string, so I guess it's only a 5 string.
Oh, I derailed the whole conversation. I'm so sorry, and I appreciate all you for sticking around and laughing with us because we were supposed to be serious tonight, and
that's okay. I appreciate you hopping in for the rest of the stream. I didn't mind doing this show to start. I kind of figured you needed some rest, so if you want,
remember I was like, I'm taking a nap, and then I'm gonna get up, and
yeah, that's okay. I'm saying people need their sleep, and people forget, and it's like an epidemic. Nobody gets their sleep anymore, so. Just have respect for sleep. Everybody loves sleep. It's a good thing.
Sleep is a good thing. That your body is supposed to rejuvenate itself in sleep. So get your rest. And I'm saying that as a person that doesn't get much rest, unfortunately. But I try. So when I say I'm tired, I'm tired because I don't sleep very much.
So that's one of the things that I have a hard time sleeping if I don't drink the alcohol. So that's as much as it would be good for me to not drink so much. I have to learn how to sleep without needing to drink first, and that's kind of a big problem. So,
yeah. May I give some advice? Because I used to if I tried to take like a Tylenol PM, that shit would keep me up. Like my limbs would throw themselves in my sleep. As I'm trying to sleep, it was so disheartening. And someone from a pharmacy told me you need to take the generic version of Tylenol PM or whatever sleep aid, like because the additives that they add are taken out in the generic version, and those versions actually make me sleep comfortably. So if anyone's having problems with sleeping off of those name brand pills, it's probably because of the additives. So
Good point. Yeah, I tend to always be paranoid about the sleeping pills, right? Never want to get addicted to them, but then if you look into the science, I'm sure there are, like you're saying, some alternatives that may be more suitable. I just tend to be not very big on prescription pharmaceuticals.
you could always take melatonin, which is what your body produces to make you go to sleep. But you have to be aware that if you take melatonin consistently, your body stops producing it because you have like brought in this foreign um, object into your body, and they're like, oh well, you don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
So if you take melatonin, do it loosely
Well, that's
so your body doesn't
natural
stop
the
producing it.
natural the naturalistic fallacy is a lot of
Mhm.
people forget that just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good for you, right? So this is the thing with
Right,
cannabis.
right.
Everyone's all gung ho about cannabis is so good for you. It could also be detrimental for people's health in its own way, depending on how it's used or abused.
Yeah. Rondo says taking melatonin supplements can fuck up your sleep cycle. Ironically, yes, it can.
Try to
Which
live
was which
naturally.
was my caveat of if you do take them, only take them every once in a while
Yeah,
because your body will get addicted to them and stop producing melatonin on its own. So
it's an
be very
evolution of
careful
addiction.
about that. And I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, so look it up for
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly. Yeah, always good to remember to say that. Whatever. Our
You're
advice
right.
nothing to subscribe to as far as professionalism or whatever.
Yeah, don't sue me. Speaking of being sued, Candace Owen is being sued.
Oh
That's
yeah.
something I was going to talk about.
Oh, nice.
She's being sued by Macron's wife.
Yeah, no, I wanted to talk about that too last week or whatever, but then it just never got left on the cutting room floor. Yeah. So, but that's an interesting thing.
I think it's hilarious. But we don't want to waste too much time on this political theater
Oh,
either,
but
but it is hilarious.
on the subject of Macron's wife, it is kind of an interesting thing to point out about the legal precedent or ruling that was established. It was a bit of the opposite of what you'd expect because we consider the courts to be so corrupt or whatever. But sometimes I think the courts throw the public a bone to act to prove that they're not corrupt, right? So yeah, you're supposed to wrap it up now, or whatever. But the French courts ruled that the people are allowed to say the defamatory stuff about her, about not being a real woman. So then now, if we're going to talk about Candace Owens getting sued for the same stuff, sounds like that lawsuit's not going to go anywhere. That's whatever that is. So.
I'm looking up something I thought was funny. Black Life was what got upset with me because I was like, I don't know if, I mean, you never know. You never know who is what. And I was like, I never seen a picture of Michelle Obama with her like pregnant. I never seen a picture. Seems like you have a picture, and I'm not being transphobic or whatever. Remember when Beyonce had that interview and she sat down? She sat down and her pregnant belly flattened. Do y'all remember that?
No, I
Like
never.
You probably don't, because this is like a culture
follow,
thing.
and I
I
don't
don't
really care if I miss it, and this is one of those things. It's like
exactly. So so I'm like, who knows? The world is a stage. I can't ask questions.
yeah, some of these things
Like, I
you
never
can
seen pictures
try.
of Michelle Obama pregnant. I just never have. Have you? Like,
Well, this is one of the
it
things
got to
about
be somewhere.
people tend to focus on the sensationalist, whatever, the sex aspect of whatever these stories are. But what I think that people should focus on is the privacy rights, the double standard of privacy rights. Because the thing about Macron's wife is they like her past is very suspicious and like covered up, and we should know more about our public figures, whatever. They shouldn't have the right to rule over us, and we are not allowed to know anything about who they are or where they came from.
And I really don't care about anything about her privacy when you are a pedophile. Like, you groom this man. This man has Stockholm syndrome, apparently. Like,
That's
you
why
are a
it's important to
pedophile.
prevent them from having that kind of privacy, because then if you allow them to have that extreme privacy right, then who knows if they're a pedophile or not? You're not allowed to know, apparently. That's the way they like it.
Rondo, me too. I've heard it too.
Exactly, right? So a lot of these kids could be freaking trafficked to these rich people, and you'd never know.
And you never know.
So let's make sure that the law is fixed about that, if we care about the law, right? Anyway, we are trying to wrap up here.
We are going all over the place.
That's all good.
And the chat is heating up about it too. Yeah.
Sometimes it's fun to gossip a bit, eh?
I'm just saying, I don't. Somebody made a song that and I'm looking for it. I don't know why I didn't save it, because it was fucking hilarious. It was like every president's wife is a dude.
Well, that's that cult.
Funny song, and I just laughed. Huh?
That's where
I mean, Barbara
just
Bush.
the fact that we live under this crazy the specific family that runs everything, the way that the cult beliefs that they have, that's what would make it so that every president's wife is a dude or whatever. It's because of that fucking cult is the only reason why. Get rid of that, like, and the president could be normal again.
Right. Oh, I wish I could find it. I can't find it right now. But it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And when you look at them, I'm like, maybe. And when you look at the fact that white men want to run the world, it's not so far-fetched, because there are a bunch of gay people. I just Google every president's wife is a dude. Google it and see how many how much stuff comes up.
Sounds like fun.
And the wives do look like dudes. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's a funny thing, right?
And it's okay, but don't lie to me. Just tell me the truth.
Yeah. Well, actually, that reminds me. I was watching Rathbone. You ever heard of Rathbone? He's another comedian. He's a comedian.
Rathbone, yeah. I watch him.
On his stream. He had, as a joke or whatever, they were watching a physiognomy expert. You remember this, like, pseudoscience about like cranial measurements determine like a person's personality and shit like that or whatever. But he was doing like a visual, like a breakdown of Epstein's face and how the features on his face determine what kind of a person Epstein was. It was fucking hilarious how bad it was, but it extremely also dangerous that people
features
are
of a face.
Because he was saying like he had a trapezoid shaped face, so that meant that he had extreme sexual energy and shit. And we're just like, you're going out a long, and Rathbone's like, you're going
That's a
a
reach.
long way out of your way just to say that this guy's face looks like a dick, right? Like, so check out Rathbone if you never heard Rathbone before.
Yeah, Rathbone.
Yeah, he looks like
He's kind of funny. He looks like a porn, like a 70s porn star. That's what he looks like. Kind of like Ian Carroll.
Cookies is saying he looks like Zach Galifianakis. I can see that. I'd say he's a funnier version of Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, they look weird.
Yeah,
but it's cool.
People look the way they look, right? So
people look the way they look. It's cool. But that the porn mustache, I feel like they do that on purpose. Like, you got a porn mustache from the 70s. You could look in the mirror and see it, and you still choose to do it. That's intentional.
Anyway,
Lance, I do watch porn. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
not a lot, but I do.
See, that's kind of the thing, or whatever. It's more about like any addiction or whatever. Are you doing too much? Maybe you should.
I'd be curious.
Yeah, but it's not. We're not.
I don't like heterosexual porn.
There are some communists who are against porn, and that's a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a losing battle if I've ever heard one. Not going to get rid of porn. Okay, good luck.
You're not going to get rid of it. It's like the oldest job in history, right?
Yeah, but what we do want to get
prostitution.
Rid of it, Israeli.
You're not going to get rid of it.
There is we should do a stream on the Zionist influence in porn, because it's fucking definitely there.
Yeah. OnlyFans is owned by.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
We could talk about all of that, like man, oh man, yeah, that's another day.
Yeah,
I mean, the more we learn about, like, the more we got into the conflict, and the more I learn, the more I'm like, I need a minute. Mastermind. Hi, Mastermind. Mastermind watches porn 5 minutes at a time. What do you do the rest of the time? Don't answer that. Don't answer that, Mastermind.
All right. Looks like our stream's going in some interesting
ways. It's time to go.
Might be time to get out of here.
Yeah. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, and we'll set up that podcast. Those of you on Discord that want to join in, let us know. We might not be able to have everybody, but just for the purpose of, it's hard to do a panel with so many people.
Yeah, we'll try it out. We'll see what happens.
We could try it out, though. We could have everybody join in. Yeah. Like, for example, you see how, like, sometimes I have an issue with jumping in when you're talking, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Things like that. Like, so if we have a bunch of us on there doing that, it's going to get complicated. You know what I mean?
That's the worst, when people you never really talked to before. Mm-hmm. That's what people you do it the most with. But then we do it a few times, people get to know each other, then people actually learn when to give people space to talk and stuff. So.
We got another comedian in the house.
You was making me laugh there. I see Cookies is asking me questions that I'm not really wanting to answer here. But to be honest,
I can tell you mine.
I don't really have a favorite. Whatever. I like all of them, basically. Yeah.
Anna Kasparian. Isn't that a political?
Yeah, she's not really a porn star, although she would maybe.
She's like a political person, right?
She could be probably fairly successful in that.
Look, I was too quick to be like, I could tell you mine. I forgot his name though.
So that's where
But
I
I
don't
did
really
have
pay
one.
enough attention to the names. Maybe it's a little bit rude of me or whatever, but that's probably the way it is, I think, with most people who watch porn.
This is what made me stop watching porn, because I used to go on Pornhub, and I don't like heterosexual porn. It looks boring to me. I like male on male porn. Like that shit is hot.
See,
That
that
shit
would,
is hot. So I
yeah.
forget his name, but I stopped watching because Pornhub changed their rules, and you had to like subscribe and like give your personal information to get on it. And I was like, porn isn't that big of a deal for me. Never mind.
Well, that is one of the strangest things about porn, though. In a world of the capitalist world that we live in, where literally everything costs money, except for porn. You
Who
can have as
is
much as you
wait?
want for free. What is that about? That's about you being the product, or whatever, right? They get all that information from us, and that's the worst thing about it. So
Yeah. Who is that?
that's what do you call it?
Who
Cowboy
is that?
Kitty. Cowboy Kitty likes to do the impersonations. Wears many hats.
Oh, Cowboy Kid. Are you like that dude? I follow this dude. I forget his name. He like has all these different Facebook posts or Instagram posts where he's posing as like a company or something. Is that you, Cowboy Kitty? You do shit like that?
I think
I
it's
think that's hilarious.
it's one of his hobbies or coping mechanisms or something. This is the thing that he
The next time he comes on my feed, I'm gonna save him and show you who he is. It is so funny because it's funny. Anyway, I'm not
Well, we
gonna.
got to get going here. I'm starting to get a bit hungry. I don't know about anyone else, but I need to make my supper. So
Okay, so let us say our exits. One, again, I apologize for derailing your important information. Like I just jumped in and I don't know what the fuck I've been talking about.
it's
So I
all good.
apologize for that.
We're already going in a circle on that one. It's okay.
Okay, I keep saying it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No
I'm
worries.
so-
I appreciate you hopping on, like I said, right?
okay. Two, I look forward to our panel discussion. Just because I feel like we didn't leave it at a good, like we didn't leave it at a good spot because we weren't really talking about that day, bad cookies. So I really want to delve into it. Three, support your independent media. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and support all local media because it's getting real out here. It's getting really real, and the only way you're going to get real news, or at least news enough where we don't know everything. We're just trying to figure the shit out with you, right? Let's figure this shit out together. Type of news is independent media. And then 4, I don't know. Goodbye. Love you.
Yeah. Just try to stop watching mainstream media. Do your best. Appreciate you all.
Do your best.
Have a good night, everyone.
I'm trying to hit the button. I don't know what StreamYard is doing. There we oh look at that. Look at that. Why are we back?
I don't know. Okay.
Let me try again.
Peace,
Bye.
everyone.